Howdy! We are Group 21, and today we will be discussing using animals in research, the essential role that animals have in scientific development, and the misconceptions of malpractice. So, what are some common misconceptions regarding using animals in research, and how does that compare to the true, essential role that animal-based research has on technological and medicinal advancement?
The first perspective that will be discussed is the popular press perspective, which is basically based on how activist groups believe that animal-based research is unjustifiable, unnecessary, or unproductive in today's world. To begin, the use of animals in research has been a big topic in our society, and with that being said, many activist groups want to protest and have started protesting against using animals in experiments. And because of their protesting, this has caused lots of false information to be spread. Next, protesting hasn't just been around for a year or two, but in fact several years, when two groups formed in 1874. The first group being the vivisectionists, which are those who are in favor of animals being used in experiments, and the anti-vivisectionists, which are those who are against it. And although they originally formed in Europe, this just shows how big of a topic it was since it was spread to the US, and it's still a debate that many individuals still argue over today. When discussing the viewpoint of the public, there are two sides, those in favor and those who think that it isn't justifiable. Those against it argue that it isn't ethical and that since we as humans have rights, then animals should as well. For instance, they believe that animals don't get the option of not participating in experiments like we as humans do. On the other hand, those in favor argue how animals are necessary in research since they further advancements in our society. Public perception of animal experimentation has been based solely on the emotional side, which is one of the main reasons people think it's wrong. On that note, there are many common misconceptions or misunderstandings by the public. For instance, one being how individuals misunderstand how cross-species comparisons work. Those who are against animals in research think that if two species differ from one another, then the work on one species will invalidate the others. However, this has been proven false with studies.
In regard to the peer-reviewed or scientific perspective, it is said that there should be a balance of transparency between researchers and the general public about the use of animals in their experiments, which are essential to scientific growth and discovery.
Vicki Robinson's article of Finding Alternatives addresses the 3 R's: replacement, refinement, and reduction. The objective of refinement is to conduct safe and ethical studies. The goal of reduction and replacement is to focus on the practices that limit the amount of animals, but find alternative methods of testing that continue to aid in technological advancement. Global controversy stems from lack of understanding. The debate of the ethical use of animals for research is a global controversy. Festing and Wilkinson's article of The Ethics of Animal Research elaborates upon the 3 R's, which gives us hope that we no longer have to use animals in research. Until then, we must educate the world about its vitality.
In the article titled Animal Testing and Its Alternatives, various methods of replacing animal use in research are discussed, namely in vitro or test tube methods. According to the authors, these alternative methods are not used nearly enough due to the increased cost when compared to typical procedures that do utilize animals. Okay, so now what? While a common perception of animal-based research within our society is that it is unethical, unnecessary, and unjustifiable, there is an underlying need for common understanding, transparency, and openness about the true imperativeness of animal use in science. So, as researchers work towards reducing animal use, refining their practices, and replacing animals in their studies, it is important to continue educating the general public about the necessity of animal use in research in keeping up with the ever-developing world and all of its technological and scientific advancements to come. Well, that's all for us. Our utilized articles, visuals, and resources are as follows. Once again, we are Group 21. Thanks, and gig 'em.